Pull up a chair by the hearth.
Hello and welcome to The Hearth, episode 6. It's the 18th of July. My name is Christopher Puner, and with me this week I have a Mr. Matthew Hillman.
Yo, what is up, people?
Hey, I've also got an Aiden Frost Rock Arts.
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, man, welcome. Hey, good to have everybody here again. I think we're on a hot streak now, aren't we? There's this like, no, it's not. We broke it.
2 weeks in a row.
No, we broke it last week. Last week, I think Frost and I did our own, didn't we? Or was that 2 days ago? Or was that 2 weeks ago? Was that 4?
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
It was 4.
So this
2
is,
weeks.
This
two
is
weeks
our
in a row.
second week in a row that we've had everybody here.
That's insane. That's
Can I
unheard
be the hot
of.
to your streak?
Yeah. Thanks, babe. Can I be the streak to your hot?
Yeah,
Ew.
dude.
Ugh, I don't want to be anybody's streak. Ugh.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but what I am sure about, Matt, is that I'm curious to hear about how your week went in Warcraft world.
Oh, the Warcraft world has been engulfing me with 2 particular games, 2 of which I'm not normally playing, and 1 of which I'm normally playing that I didn't much this week. So you figure it out.
Okay, so you played a lot of Heroes of the Storm in Hearthstone, but you didn't play very much WoW?
That is correct. I actually haven't played a lot of WoW recently.
Okay.
For reasons unknown to me and to the world, 6.2 is a little disappointing, but that's okay. We're pushing through it. I got really into Heroes of the Storm this week, mostly because we said we were going to play Heroes of the Storm last week after the episode, and we did, and I enjoyed it so much that I continued to play, and I got to like level 14 or 15 as my level, which is cool because now I'm like halfway to being able to do ranked or whatever, but I still don't know anything about the game. Like, there's still a bunch of heroes that I haven't seen or played against or whatever. So
sure. Yeah, especially at that level. Yeah. Have you been trying to watch any of the professional scene?
I haven't watched a lot of the professional heroes scene, but I've watched a little bit of the professional Hearthstone scene. I've continued to watch the Archon Week 3. I watched a little bit of that. There was also another tournament, I think, that I was watching. It was a smaller tournament, but that was going on too, which was pretty cool. And then I played some Hearthstone. This week's Tavern Brawl is the random one, which is pretty cool. Go check out our pre-brawl. I was on the pre-brawl with Frost.
Yeah, you guys did a great job.
The intro is perfect.
I actually here I'm gonna spill the beans right now. So they recorded it and they put it up for me to then edit, and then so I could put it out the next day. And Frost like texts me, or like when we were talking on TeamSpeak something, and you were like, "It's atrocious. You need to make a new intro, like something. Just erase all of it and be like, hey guys." Hey, it's Chris. I wasn't on this, but this is pre-brawl. No, I ended up taking all the bits and pieces of your audio and then just super editing it and made you sound awesome.
Okay, because I listened to like the first 15 seconds of it. I'm like, oh, he didn't cut it. No.
It sounds fine. I mean, I think so. That's just me though. But
yeah, I basically heard like Aiden was starting and we were kind of still talking at the same time, and then we just continued, and I was like, I thought he was going to stop and be like, all right, I'm going to do a real intro now, but he didn't. He just kept going. I was like, all right, I guess that was the intro. Cool.
I believe the unedited version was a lot of him just going, this is the Tavern Brawl, and Tavern Brawl happened, and have you played any Tavern Brawl?
First, I introduced us as I'm here with myself and Frost, so it sounded like
he's like, I'm here, Frost, and Matt Hillman is here, and I was like, it sounded like you introduced 3 people, but it's just you and me.
That part is still in because it was just I thought it was funny. Cool. So yeah,
it's still in there.
So, but besides Tavern Brawl, actually, hang on. Did you actually get to talk about Tavern Brawl at all? Like, was there like a specific class that you liked? Because like I want to get reactions out of all of us now that we've played a little bit more of it. Because I know that Frost and our initial reaction was a little underwhelming. So it's exciting to hear that you enjoyed it as much as you did.
I had a quest to play 5 games or win 5 games as Priest or Warlock, which are 2 classes I don't play very often. So I tried to make a good priest deck for ranked, and I ended up getting shit on by Face Hunter and Patron Warrior. So then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to do Tavern Brawl because you can do your quests in Tavern Brawl.
Yeah.
So I just picked Warlock and started going. And one of my games, I got 2 Jiraxis in my hand.
Oh, awesome.
And so I got down to 4 health. I played Jiraxis and then hit him in the face or whatever. And then I was going to win next turn, but he didn't surrender. So I was like, sweet. And it comes back to me. I hit him in the face. I played Jiraxis again, and just like yeah, it was awesome.
That's so fantastic. Wait, so I've got a question.
Warlock.
If you are Jiraxis and you swing, and then you play Jiraxis again, can you swing again?
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
because it technically destroys your hero, right? So you're getting a new one, and it doesn't. It has a reset on it. That's cool.
There's the video of someone reducing all of his Draxes to 0 mana, and then he plays 10 Draxes in one turn and does 30 damage, like in just a custom with his friend. But it's hilarious.
That's very funny.
Yeah, so I did that, and I really enjoyed the Tavern Brawl. That was pretty cool. But as far as like ranked goes, I was still doing Patron Warrior and trying to progress with that. It sometimes works, but Patron Warrior fails pretty hard against Face Hunter, in my opinion. There's just maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I don't have a lot of recourse against it.
My understanding is that it depends on how steep your particular like brand of mana curve is in your Patron Warrior deck, right? Because if it's too late, you're just gonna get outpaced and then just destroyed. But there are some I've seen some that like rely on like really early lucky draws of like Frothing Berserker and shit like that. Like that they will have a strong board presence and they demand clearing, otherwise the hunter will lose and then they just screw up their entire game.
Yeah.
The main thing is with Patron, it's like you have so much card draw in your deck that it's a combo deck, so you need certain cards to win the game. So I mean, you draw your entire deck, and as soon as you have your entire deck in your hand, or like the cards you need, you just play your combo and you win the game, whether it be like a Frothing combo, whether it be Patron. Like Patron's more of a mid combo. I mean, it can win you the game because it's ridiculous. But I mean, if you have your entire deck in your hand, you probably have a War Song, 2 Frothings, and then enough AoEs to win you the game, like hitting for like 50 or something, which is, I mean, it's kind of dumb, but oh well. I mean, it's a combo deck.
Kind of dumb.
To play around it.
It's kind of dumb, but it takes a lot of investment. Like you go all in, so it's not. I have a hard time hearing people say like Patron is cheese or something like that. I feel like it does require a bit of finesse. Yeah.
You have to end the game before they get combo. You have to win the game before they get combo. So I mean, if you can, that's how you play around it. So if you can, then that's how you win the game.
Cool.
Yeah, so I just got in my Patron deck I have Sludge Belchers and what the other 1/3 exploding one. What's that called? Aiden?
We don't
exploding
one?
Yeah, the 1/3 that deals 1 damage to all minions when it dies. I don't remember what it's called.
The Unstable Ghoul.
Unstable Ghoul, yeah, that's it.
Oh, look at me, I'm growing up. I'm growing up.
But yeah, those are my main taunts, and then as far as like up against Face Hunter, it's just that clock, man. The clock makes it really, really hard. I had one Face Hunter, he quick-shotted, combo drawed into Mark of nope, that's not it. The eating you know. God damn it.
Saboteur?
No.
Eating you.
Not Saboteur. Kill Command.
Kill Command, thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kill Commanded. So it's like, how do you deal with the 10 damage to the face in that turn? Like it's so difficult to deal with. I don't know.
It's really fun when you play a trolley deck against Face Hunter though, because like literally all they do is hit face. I mean, that's their play style. You play like they don't care if they play Arcane Golem, which gives you an extra mana on turn 3 or whatever. They don't care if you have that extra mana because they're gonna end the game with all their bursts as soon as they can. Right. But if you can pull it out to like turn 9 with like I have a pretty trolly Mildred deck, and it's like I don't mill them because if you mill them, then all they do is get their cards for combos and burst. Yeah. But I wait out so I can play shit like Alex Straza turn 9. What's the full heal?
Tree of Life.
Tree of Life. Like if you play Tree of Life against a Face Hunter, you win the game. It's literally over. And it's the best feeling. It's just sorry, and then you play that, and then they just concede. So.
Wow,
that's funny.
Wait, does the Alex Straza thing set their total life to 15?
Yes.
Oh, so Tree of Life wouldn't even affect them.
I usually just set mine to 15. Like just like, they get you down to 3. Alex draws myself up to 15, then they can't end the game again. So then Tree of Life the next turn, so they waste more burst, and then it's
Gotcha.
fun.
It's pretty funny.
And I have double anti-Keelbot, double healing touch in that deck, so I mean...
Jesus.
It's just you can't die, so...
What
Cool.
what other heroes have you been playing in Heroes of the Storm? I'm sorry to bring it back, but I don't think...
Oh, no, it's fine.
I haven't been able to ask you much about Heroes of the Storm because you don't play very often, so I'm excited to have somebody to talk to about it.
I've been playing a lot of Heroes, and mostly I kind of like try to fill around whatever I have to do for my quests. I like that they're daily quests, and I have to kind of pick new heroes and play those and try to figure those ones out. I played Techies. Is that how you say it? Or Tekis?
What?
Or Tex?
Isn't that Dota 2?
You're talking about Dota.
Which one is the guy with the gun from StarCraft?
What do you... Oh, Tychus?
Tychus.
That's super funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
That's pretty funny.
It was something like that. I knew it was. I don't know. I don't play StarCraft.
Yeah, no.
Okay, sure. Tychus. Whatever.
Yeah,
he's
the dude from the trailer that chews on the cigars. Like, hell, it's about time.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Tychus.
And then he like flips his like mask thing down when you select him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm ready to kill people," and you're like, "Sweet." Yeah, I fed as him a lot. That was fun.
He's a cool dude though. He's literally like walk around and spray and pray, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. Like, okay, is Q on cooldown? Okay, then hit other buttons. If it's not, hit Q. There you go. So that was kind of fun, but mostly I really enjoyed Jaina, and I'm trying to get up enough money to play Jaina.
She's cool
because she was free for a while, and I played her a lot, and I was like, this is so sweet. And then she was not free anymore, and I was like, oh, just get her. And then I was like, 10,000 gold. What the fuck? So I've been saving up, and I think I have 10,000 now, so I'll probably get her. Yeah. So, but mostly just, like I said, trying to play heroes that'll fulfill that, play whatever, 3 games as StarCraft hero. That was the one. So
I'm kind of at a point where I don't really care about those quests that much anymore.
I don't know. I like the gold because I like to try to get more heroes and play those guys. So
cool. Well, anything else, Matt, with your week in particular?
I played some League of Legends, but that's unrelated.
It is unrelated, and we have another place for that sort of stuff.
Oh, do we?
Not you.
Well, tell me about that, Chris.
I do. What do you mean? I played a little bit of League this past week.
What game is that?
I don't know what you're talking about. You're right.
All right. So
let's move on to Aiden. Yeah.
Sorry, my finger was stuck in my water.
Ooh, gross.
What?
Moist.
Anyways, on the Warcraft note, what did I do this week? I played 0 WoW because I'm really bad at committing to games. I really okay, once again we touched on League of Legends, but it's like I want to hit Diamond before I commit to WoW, or else I'm gonna play WoW and then not play League as much, so I'm not gonna be as likely to hit Diamond.
Know thyself, Frost. Know thyself.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah. I honestly think that will be a smart thing to do. And then it'll be like, okay, I've kind of made what I want to get out of this season, so I can actually move on to another game. But as for Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone, we mentioned that we played Heroes of the Storm after recording last week, and they ruined my win streak. Everyone just ruined my win streak. We lost a game. We lost a game.
But the important thing is that we had fun.
We won 2, but we lost 1 game.
That's true.
I think I'm 5-1 now. I lost track.
Yeah, still like an 80% win rate or something.
You're basically a scrub lord.
Yeah, basically.
But honestly, I think I'm learning the game the most optimal way. Like, if you think about it, I'm playing all like support type champions right now, so I'm pretty well like learning how the maps play out, learning abilities of other champions and other heroes, kind of like understanding, and like I finally figured out, holy crap, silence is really, really strong in this game, like, because there's a lot of spells with a low cooldown. So I mean, if you can silence for like 2 seconds with like a huge AoE, like Malfurion has an AoE silence, right, if I'm correct?
He has an AoE root.
No, his ult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his ult is NAO silence. It's like, that is crazy. It's like, as soon as I use that for the first time in a huge team fight, I'm like, we just like stomp them after, and I'm like, wow, that felt really, really good. And I think I'm learning the game the best way. It's like, I'm focused more on map mechanics, focused more on like seeing what's going on, what people prioritize in the game, like kills, objectives, pushing, all that stuff. So I think I'm kind of learning the game the best way, and I think it will benefit me in the long run once I start to play like assassins and all that fun stuff, which I think I will eventually dabble in.
Most stuff.
I'm gonna dabble in assassins eventually. Anyways, on
Mostly
to the
assassins dabble in you, mate.
Yeah. Speaking of assassins, Rogue in Hearthstone. Just kidding, I don't play that because it's bad.
Whoa.
Whoa. No.
Watch yourself.
The only Rogue deck
actually happens.
Only Rogue deck is Oil Rogue, and I don't like playing combo decks.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, Hearthstone. I didn't play any competitive or like what do you want to call it, ranked, because I decided I want to take the season off. But now everyone's talking me into playing it to beat one guy on our server.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I know I can and I will because I'm that type of person. But yeah, I've been mainly playing Tavern Brawl. I actually really like this Tavern Brawl. I didn't like it at the beginning. It was kind of like too RNG for me. The Tavern Brawl being where you choose a deck and then you get random class cards with a higher chance of legendary. So I mean, it's a completely random deck, but you can get multiple legendary. So I mean, it's all right. I mean, I like deck building more than getting a random class because I think deck building is a more interesting part of the game.
Sure.
But I don't know, I've been having fun with it. It's like Matt mentioned, it's a lot of fun to do class challenges with, and what do you want to call them? Quests.
Yeah. Right.
Because, I mean, you pretty well have a 50% win rate every single game because...
And I feel like the games go a little bit faster, but I could 100%. Be wrong.
Yeah. And it's like, you can get crazy stuff like double Ysera or something like that, or double Velens, or just stupid stuff where if you play two of them, you win the game no matter what.
I have to tell you guys, remember how last week we were talking about a crazy priest deck when they would get Mind Blast and Prophet Velen and all
yeah.
It happened to me.
You were playing against somebody?
It happened to me, and it wasn't in Tavern Brawl, it was in constructed ranked play.
Wow.
Yes.
Frost has a deck like that.
They had an Emperor Thorison.
Well, that's a must.
I cleared it the first turn. They threw down Prophet Velen, Mind Blast me twice for 20 damage and win the game. Yeah. They won the game. I'm so mad. I was so mad. I'm like, they fucking listened to the show.
It honestly was probably Firebat's deck. That's it. I made a list. I just copy pasted his, like, I net decked his list because I really wanted a deck like that was good. Because once we finished the show, we were kind of curious if Light Bomb was affected by Velens. Light Bomb being,
yeah, we tested that.
Yeah, Light Bomb being you do the amount of damage of the attack of the minion. So we wanted to know if it would do double the attack of the minion's damage if you had Velens on the field. So I crafted 2 Light Bombs and I crafted Velens for this stupid experiment. So I crafted 3,200 dust worth of cards.
Yeah, crazy amount.
Yeah, I mean,
not 3,200, but a lot.
Sorry, 2,400. Yeah. But anyways, it's like then we played that game and then we found out that it actually does work. So you do double damage, and then I decided to make an OTK priest deck, which I copied Firebat's list, which is. I'm just going to pull up my super cool priest deck, because honestly, it's a lot of fun to play. I think I've won 50% of my matches with it. He calls it freeze priest.
That's
even
weird.
Though there's no freezing in it, but I guess it's the same idea as, it's a combo deck where you have to wait until you... Yeah, it's instead of playing Alexstrasza and then winning the game next turn, you play, either Malagos or Velen, and then win the game the next turn. So, he runs Velen and Malagos, which both have the same idea. Malagos increases spell damage by 5, Velen doubles it. So either way, your Mind Blasts do 10 damage each. Or if you have both of them on the field, which is never going to happen, I mean, then you're going to do 20 damage each.
20 damage each.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Would they?
Yeah, because it adds 5 and then it doubles it.
2 mana, 20 damage.
Why would it add 5 and then double it?
Because that's the way that the effects go over.
Huh, okay.
It's same thing with Pyro. If you have... Malagos, then if you have Malagos and Velens, then it does 30.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So having a 2 mana, even just having a 2 mana Pyroblast is crazy, but having a 2 mana 20 damage card is a little bit insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's if you do win a game, once again, I love decks that is if you win a game with it, which you're not going to win a lot of them, if you win a game with it, it is absolutely the best feeling. And I think I'm going to keep playing fun decks like that. And yeah. That's pretty cool my week, though. I mean, I didn't do too much crazy stuff. I have 2k gold on Hearthstone now. which
Wow.
we'll talk about later in the show. Why?
Shortly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Chris.
For myself, I've touched everything. I did all the stuff this week. I even played some ranked Hearthstone, like I mentioned. I got up to rank 15, and then I got knocked back down to 16. I'm trying out Zulok this season because I had done Mech Hunter primarily last season, which wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I think I got to 15 or 14, something like that, by the end of the season. But yeah, no, in Zulok, in one sit down, I think of 6 matches, I won 4 or 5, something like that. It was a good win rate. I felt really good about it. Zulok is cool, and the value of that sort of deck is very clear. I get why it works, but it's so boring. It's just so super boring. I don't like it. It's not fun. There's no strategy involved. All this strategy is to just swing, kill my own stuff, get card draw, hope I get something with charge or with some sort of burst so I can get ahead in the curve, and if I can't, I'm fucked. Like, it... it's just a lot of 1-drops, and then, like, you know, an Argent Crusader, or Champion Crusader, whatever it is, that dude, the 6, or the 4/2 with charge with the Divine Shield, that guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Argent Commander. Argent Commander.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that card. It's a cool card. But yeah, there's a lot of cards in the deck that I thought were pretty bad, but work well together. Yeah, interesting stuff. So I'll let you guys know how the rest of that goes, because I'll keep trying to like get up to rank. I want to try to get to rank 10 this season. That's kind of like my goal. But with our meetup coming up and stuff, I don't know how much time I'll actually be able to dedicate to grinding that stuff and also keep up with other things, like World of Warcraft. Yeah. So I had been kind of letting my WoW playing take a back seat to other things the past couple of weeks. But today I said, damn it, you know, I'm gonna give WoW some time. It needs attention. It needs some love. And the second wing of Hellfire Citadel came out for LFR. It is called the Halls of Blood, and the 3 boss fights are Kilrog, Deadeye, Hellfire High Council, and Gorefiend. And I did an LFR with one of our mutual friends of the show, and we had a good time, and they were fun, interesting fights that required some fancy footwork, which is cool. I'm happy that this raid is fun, because a lot of the reactions around the rest of that expansion is kind of bleh. We'll talk about that more later. Yeah, we'll talk about that more later. But yeah, and then in Heroes of the Storm, I played some more ranked, and I won. Butcher is ridiculous, and people just don't pick him. I don't get it. Maybe there are some people that are scared to play him, or maybe they don't really know how to play him. I guess. I don't know. I'm lucky that I feel like I'm pretty decent at him. I'm pretty okay. That I just get him every single time. I was the last pick in the game in a lot of cases, and I still got him. So yeah, just doing some ranked in that. And I think that's it for my week. So we're gonna get into the rest of the show, like the actual like meat and potatoes of this show. But before we do, I want to take a moment to thank our patrons for this episode. And that includes Andrew, who we did a shout out to last week, and newly joined family of the patron is Sergeant. So thank you guys. We appreciate it. We really appreciate your support.
You're awesome.
You're fantastic. You deserve all of our love people, and then some. If you guys would like to join the Cool Kids Club and get shout outs with them, go ahead and check out our Patreon. It's patreon.com/the Hearth. It's a cool way to support the show. Get episodes of the main show 24 hours early, and some other neat stuff like arena run videos and stuff like that. So,
and you get to be our lifetime friend.
That too. Cool stuff. Neat.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool stuff, hey Frost.
Chris.
What sort of phone do you have?
I have the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge.
All right.
Really cool. It sounds like.
Why is this relevant?
It sounds like that sort of phone would come with a lot of perks, because that's a new phone, right?
Yeah, I was gonna get this case for my phone, which looked like a card back, but instead they just gave me one in game. So yeah, there's a promotion being run by Blizzard and obviously Samsung, which I think is brilliant. I think it's people are brilliant. People are really mad that they don't have it. Apparently, there's a couple ways to bypass it and try to get the card back and stuff, which kind of cheesy.
Which are illegal, by the way.
Yep, they're illegal. Don't do them.
Just saying.
Yeah.
What exactly do you get for having an S6?
Oh, so if you have an S6 and you log on to Hearthstone on your phone, you get 3 card backs and a special card back, which looks freaking awesome.
You mean 3 card packs in one special card
Yeah.
back, right?
Did I say
okay.
card back?
Yeah, you said backs, and I was like, really?
3 card backs.
That'd be
You had
cool.
to use all 3 of them at the same time.
Are they like classic packs? Are they GVG packs? Or is
They
it
are
random?
classic packs.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah, and I got all crap from them, so I think it's rigged, and I want to
well, I
refund.
mean, they're,
Typical
they're
packs.
classic packs. What'd you
Yeah,
expect?
right?
Like,
They're free packs. They give out free shitty packs.
If I
Yeah,
don't
there's
get at
just-
least 2 Wisp in a classic
There's-
pack, I'm like, what the fuck?
there's just 4 Priestess of Aloons and then 1 like Goldshire Footman in every single pack.
God damn it.
A fact?
Dust.
No, but the card back looks freaking cool, and I like it, and I'm gonna use it all the time because people don't have it a lot of
Yeah.
them. So
You're
yeah,
like, oh man, that dude has a cool phone and a cool card back.
yeah, dude, this guy
Damn.
must be a cool dude. I want to hang out with him in real life.
Did they
Yeah,
mention when
totally.
this promotion was going to end, or is it just going to keep on going?
I know it went live on like the 15th, I believe, or the
Yeah.
15th. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it was recently. Yeah.
I don't think they have a date on it. At least I haven't seen any date, so I think it'll probably
Okay.
run for like a month or 2, or probably
Sure.
a couple months. I know Blizzard doesn't want to release any more card backs that are unattained. Holy shit!
Unobtainable.
Other players cannot get.
Yes.
Cool.
So they're going to stick to strictly probably the ones you get from season rewards and stuff.
Probably that, and like BlizzCon, I'm sure is the only one that's going to be kind of like a limited thing.
Yeah, but I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
make exceptions for that sort of stuff because that's their in-house sort of thing.
Yeah, and they
Because-
like money. So
Yeah.
Because I
Right.
know like they have the Tespa card back, which I think the Dalaran Flame one, which I think is the coolest card back in the entire game. First of all, but I know that like so I can get that because I'm a university student and I can join up for like an esports club and get it. I have to join up for an esports club that has like 20 people in it or something and pay like $5. But I mean, literally, it's so hard for anyone else to go. They're on eBay being sold kind of like League of Legends skins now,
Mm-hmm.
like for like $300. So I'm
Oh
honestly
my
thinking
God.
about getting it and then just selling it for $300.
I think
like,
that's
they
also
sell.
illegal.
I'm not going to do that. I am going to get it and use it all the time.
And love it.
Yeah, because I'm a university student and that's what I want to do with my money.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but honestly, it looks really cool. And I heard that they want to make that way more easy to get for other players rather than having to be a like college student and joining an esports club. So, I mean, I see why. So
Yeah, it's very specific, kind of a gated sort of thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of other gated releases, and also with Hearthstone, isn't there like a big thing happening soon-ish?
Yeah, they have the special Hearthstone announcement at the Foundry, which is in San Francisco, California, on July 22nd. So pretty well, they're pretty well announced an announcement because we're assuming that this
Yeah.
is going to be the announcement for either a new expansion or a new set of cards. The reason why I think it's a new set of cards is because, first of all, it takes place on all the days of the Argent Command. What's it called? Argent
Crusade.
Tournament. Oh, Argent Crusade. Stuff that was like kind of announced a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And at the event is going to be like a bunch of huge Hearthstone personalities. We have like Froden, Kripparrian, Trump Amaz. They have a game director from Blizzard. They have the world champion Firebat. I mean, like, they have all these people that I'm assuming they're going to announce cards and then have them go through them and be like, oh, this card's going to be played in this type of deck. It's a very aggro or tempo focused card, whatever. And it's being live streamed. So, I mean, I'm almost certain that they're going to announce a new set of cards. Like, this is exactly a year and 1 day from GVG release. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it will be a new expansion.
Wow. Also, if you're curious, there are a couple videos of. I know I watched the one that Trump got. He basically got an invitation of like this little scroll,
Yeah.
and so he made a video and he called it "Announcing an Announcement of an Announcement," which is exactly what he was doing. And I don't know. I think it's hype. I'm excited. I want to see what they're going to talk
it's
about.
extremely exciting. Although, yeah, we're pretty sure, and we talked about this on the show a little bit. I want to say a couple weeks ago. I think this was on episode 4. It might have been, if Matt,
Okay.
because you're saying like we didn't talk about it before. We did. And we're pretty sure it's just going to be Argent Crusade stuff.
So
Argent Tournament stuff.
yeah, so you guys should watch the live stream because not only is it Hearthstone content, but Seltzer's hosting it. So I mean, yeah,
Ooh.
Totally.
Okay.
she's dreamy.
I don't know who this is. Maybe I'll have to
Oh
check it
my
out.
god.
All right, so
Gonna have
Aiden's
to-
off the podcast. So, WoW news, right? Let's move on.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's move on. Why not?
Hey, Matt, I got a question for you.
What, Chris?
Let's say I'm an Alliance player and I like PvP, but we keep getting pooed on by Horde players. Is there any hope for me?
Yeah, reroll Horde.
Oh,
No, there's a new PvP thing that is in development that Blizzard says will be coming to the public test realm soon. They call it mercenary mode. Basically, you would be allowed to queue up for a unranked battleground as well as Ashran and experience the battle from the opposing faction side. Reasons this is good, it will obviously shorten up queue times. You'll be able to get a kind of feel of what it's like working from the other side. You'll actually be automatically transferred over your race to something of the opposing faction, so you'll get a completely new race. I hate this, but that's just me. I personally think that if you're going to play Horde, you should play Horde. If you're going to play Alliance, play Alliance. There are a lot of different things that we could talk about this and how...
there are.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to not talk about this because, honestly, I don't think that this addresses the issue that people have basically been complaining about Ashran and how it's just... It's not the PvP that they were really expecting. It's not really open world. It has queue times. The queue times are really long. I don't know if there's a really good way to do this with the system that they have set up right now. My personal opinion is go back and retrench into server-wide PvP realms, but they're not going to ever do that again because of all the cross-server stuff that they've committed to. So,
well, the cross-server
it's kinda
stuff
whatever.
has so many benefits with it too. I don't blame them. Like
I agree that it has
it's
benefits,
very,
but
very smart.
I mean, if you're going to play with people and you're going to have friends who are playing this game, you're all going to be on the same server anyway. So
That's true.
Most of the time, you're not going to really need what all the cross server realm does is increase queue times for when you're soloing stuff.
Well,
And
also
I think
it gives you it like makes the game feel more alive in some place. I mean, this is nullified because of garrisons, but like in the last expansion, Shrine was full of people from other servers too, and like there was it made the game feel more alive because there was more people around in different places. Because the game was so big that the player base was spread around in so many different places. You know, like there were some people that just refused to use Shrine. They're like, I want to hang out in Stormwind or Orgrimmar. Like you would see people, you know, otherwise you wouldn't, and you would be like, I feel alone.
Which is why I think they need to go back to what they used to do, which was have one main hub for everybody of one expansion, have the raids relatively close to that hub, have the PvP zone relatively close to that hub, and then make everything available right there. So that's the only place you need to be. And then you wouldn't have this issue where there's, you know, long queue times for things and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Because you'd be finding those people, you'd be talking in trade chat, you'd be meeting people, and like that's what this game was about. That's why it was so good, is because you have a big community of people who are working together. And now with the cross realm stuff, it's like if I do a heroic dungeon at level 100, I'm doing it with 4 people that I've never met before and I'm never going to meet again. Like 90% of the time, because you don't really need to. You just queue up, you do what you need to do, and you get out and you're done. And it's like, that's fine if you're trying to gear up, because then you don't really have to wait very long. But if you already have gear and everything like that, it just seems like a waste of time, because what's the point, you know?
The interesting thing that you're saying, though, about having a quest hub and having everything close to it for everybody and stuff like that, is that if you look at Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, that's what they had. They had Shattrath and they had Dalaran, right? Dalaran was ideal. Shattrath was cool because it was centered in the middle of everything, but Shattrath was also kind of a shithole.
And it's kind of far away from raids, too.
Yeah, and Dalaran was cool because it was in a zone that nothing cool was happening in there, so it gave it something interesting. It was a floating goddamn city, had really cool characters in it. It was really, really neat. And then you could fly to Icecrown, you could fly to newbie zones to help friends out, you could go anywhere really super easily. And now we have things like garrisons. Everybody's just bitching and complaining about it. Rightfully so, because it sucks. So I hope they go back to a centralized sort of city structure again. Because even in Cata, when we were going back to Stormwind and Orgrimmar, that was freaking cool.
Yeah.
Because I feel like all the work's been wasted now for you to sit in a cardboard box in the middle of Draenor by yourself.
You're telling me. So anyway, if you felt like there wasn't enough cohesion in this game and you wanted to further get rid of your own identity as a character, then you can go ahead and do PvP mercenary mode and experience it from the other side instead of taking the time to level a class to 100 on the other faction like I did, but I'm not complaining. Also, time walking event this weekend, July 17th through the 20th. So some people will know about that if you listen to this when it comes out. Otherwise, it's probably over.
It ends on Monday, so they'll have a day.
Yeah. So Wrath of the Lich King time walking event this time. We did the BC heroic dungeons. Now we're
What
doing
a mistake that was.
Yeah, and now we're doing the irrelevant Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. Did I say irrelevant?
Hey,
yeah,
man, dude, Nexus is pretty cool. Nexus is okay.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't know. I guess the Nexus is fine. Utgard, I would probably try. But the rest, I mean, okay.
Any of the fucking spider ones, any of the Nerubian shit needs to go. Fuck that. They're cool lore-wise, but I never want to do those instances again. I don't care if you're going to give me free gear, because that's what they're doing with this event too. You go in there, you start the quest in the adventure journal, and you do all five of these time walking dungeons. By the way, a little bit of detail on that, because I ran into this issue before. One of my friends had already done it, and he wanted to queue it up with just so we could hang out and we could do it together. And we didn't meet the quote unquote requirements, so we couldn't queue up. It's because they're time walking. You're time walking into heroic versions of these dungeons, so you can only do it once a week.
Oh, interesting.
So there's that. Lockouts happen with those. So if you did one already, you can't queue with somebody and get that same one, which is cool and also frustrating. Whatever. But I was having so many issues with this because I already didn't want to be in this instance, right? I'm like, I'm only here for the heroic cash. That's what you get at the end. You get 705 gear. I think it's 705.
Yep. 705.
705, and it can go Warforged for what?
710?
711?
Something up there.
Something weird like that. But
who
yeah,
gives a shit about Gear Store? Let's be honest.
But nobody does. It's a silly elitist thing to care about. As a casual player who only wants to mine in my garrison.
Yeah, because that's real rewarding, right?
Fish alone.
That's even more rewarding.
Oh my god, it's terrible. There's that one Draenei who struts around on the beach next to you, but other than that, there's nobody around at all. They even put the fish, like, did you notice how they hid the fishing hut just like around the corner, like half a mile away? They're like, if you really want to go over there,
by your shipyard now, right?
Yeah, you can do that, but there's also the old fishing hut is still where it was, at least for
okay.
Whatever Lunar Fall or whatever it's called.
It's right there by the relevant herb garden.
Right,
for Horde.
Which I still do. I don't know why. I do that.
Because you need more herbs for your useless reagent. You need to fill up your reagent bank. That's
exactly. I guess so. Yeah, that's rewarding in and of itself as well.
All right, so let's continue to shit on WoW by talking about these time
one
walking
thing
dungeons.
though is that so if you're gonna be doing the time walking dungeons, if you don't know what those are, first of all. We've already talked about this, I think, several times on the show because we've bitched about time walking dungeons in the past. But let me remind you, they scale you down. They don't scale these instances up because that'd be too cool. That'd be too awesome. They scale you down to now level 80, right?
Well, to be fair, it's much easier to scale you down than it is to scale up the dungeon.
That's true, but no.
Well, I understand that it would be cooler if they scaled the dungeon up. But,
and
yeah.
I don't know what happened during this scaling down process, but somewhere in the magic of us loading in and them scaling down our characters, every single tank that I've also gotten to queue with also had his skill as a tank scaled down, and he was shit. He was absolutely all of them were terrible. I haven't met one competent tank time walking.
Okay, well I'll do some time walking dungeons on my death knight. We'll have fun.
I just want to die. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, the dungeons that are available, Ahn'kahet, the Old Kingdom, Gundrak, Halls of Lightning, the Nexus, and Utgard Pinnacle. So, like I said before, the Nexus is kind of okay. Utgard Pinnacle I'll do, but I
Is
don't
that
know.
which one is that? I can never remember what the difference between Utgard Keep and Utgard Pinnacle is.
Utgard Pinnacle was a
That's the one where the sword
it's the one
comes
with
down,
the
right?
giant guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the one where they the little thing flies around and hits the statues and they come to life and you got to fight those. Yeah, it's that one. And then the big King Ymirion, I don't know how to pronounce it. He's the last boss of that one.
Sure.
But basically, I don't know. These dungeons, like I said when we were talking about the BC ones, why not do raids? Raids would be so much cooler, and you could get a party together, and you could go back, and you could do some heroic raids. They don't even have to change it. Just do 20-man raids. Or 10-man. It's like it's
the
whatever.
problem. I mean,
but
the
it's
problem
just
with that
so
is
much
that
better.
it takes so much time, though.
Yeah,
They
but
take
the
time.
the whole point is that you want to be spending time in the game, not this shit.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like spending a lot of time and feeling like it's being rewarding, and then also accomplishing a lot of little things in a row. Like there are different levels of satisfaction associated with each of those approaches. But it would be cool because they're only doing like 5. If they were like, yeah, well, we had 3 raids that in Burning Crusade, we'll just load you in before the last encounter and give you like a little tooltip so that you know what you're doing, so that you can fight Kael'thas, so that you can do Illidan, and those encounters are like what you're actually time walking for. Because nothing meaningful happens in these dungeons for you to feel like it's worth going back to do like that in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like you're reliving the glory days of when we used to go raid Utgard Pinnacle for our gear when we were gearing up to go actually do real things.
Oh, wait.
You
You
know?
mean you had to do heroic dungeons in order to do raids?
Yeah, back in the day.
What
it
was that even like?
It was a different time, man. It was a different time. Yeah.
So anyway, we could talk about this for hours, but this isn't.
We almost did.
Part of the show that. You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna talk about 6.2 because I want to. 6.2 comes out, and as they continue to release content for this expansion, everybody continues to think more and more that this expansion was kind of overlooked, and that maybe they're preparing us for the next expansion because this content is weird, and they're retrenching into places that we were like, what are you talking about? So we talked about the shipyard in a previous episode and how that's basically just another garrison thing to do and nobody really cares. And Tanan is basically time asile for this expansion, which is fine. People enjoyed it. Some people enjoyed it. Some people didn't. Whatever. There's a new raid. I'm really confused and a little bit scared about why this is happening the way it is. Obviously, the raid is fine, but everything feels kind of pointless, And I especially want to talk about gear, because gear is one of the things that kind of makes endgame what it is. The whole point of the endgame in World of Warcraft is getting your gear up to the highest level possible and doing the highest level raid possible.
Min-maxing.
Yeah, exactly. So currently, you can get all of this amazing gear by doing time walking dungeons and Tanan and Apex's farming, and it's just like
Garrison missions.
Garrison missions give you, yes, you can get better gear than you could or the same gear as normal or even heroic Hellfire Citadel just by doing your shipyard correctly. So basically, they've gotten to the point where there's really no need to raid. There's no need to do raids the classic way that you're supposed to do them. You could just do LFR and learn the content and then gear yourself up that way. Basically, for me anyway, it's a lot less rewarding. Now, I'm going to preface this entire conversation with the fact that my guild broke up after Pandaria, so we don't really, I guess we raided through 6.1, but it wasn't the same guild. It was very different. So basically, we decided as a guild to skip this expansion. Nobody enjoys the content. Nobody's around to really play because nobody gives a shit about the garrison stuff. And it seems like the best way to gear up is to do that. And if you think back to Pandaria, if somebody said, all right, I'm level 90, how do I gear up? What do I do? What's the best way to get gear? literally everyone would tell you do LFR until you have enough gear to get into a flex group, do some flex until you have enough to get into a normals group, then do normals, then do heroics, and then you're done. That you've beaten the game. Congratulations. And that took a while. It wasn't like you could just start and finish and be done, you know? If you hit level 100 right now, for the first time, your first ever endgame character, go to Tanan, get yourself some gear, and then queue up for Mythic. You don't even need to do anything else. And it makes me question why I would be running normals or heroics at this point if I can just get the same gear by farming Apex's dailies.
Right.
So it's one of those things that kind of, it puts me off. It makes me think, you know, there's all these people who have high level gear because they're doing all these things, and I just don't care, don't have the time, or would rather be playing Heroes of the Storm. So it's kind of a question of what your preference is. I know that there are some people who are really enjoying this expansion, and that's great. And
there are some really good things about this expansion. I mean, we're kind of throwing a pity party. Matt maybe a little bit more so because he's more invested into World of Warcraft than I am right now. Or he was in the past.
I've given up on this expansion.
I mean, we're just crying because these are the things that are at the forefront of the game and also of our minds as people that love this game and the world, as this expansion is literally in its death throes.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because the raid right now, Hellfire Citadel, is really good.
I think it is.
It's good content. But like this expansion was super heavy on lore stuff, on world building, on character development for a lot of our favorite characters. Thrall, his encounter with Garrosh is amazing. That cinematic is so super cool. Murad and like what happens to him and everything with Arel is amazing. And Velen, we talked about him last week and what happens with him and stuff like that. It's great storytelling. And the only thing holding it back is just some questionable gameplay design choices that hopefully they'll fix in the next expansion, because Blizzard always iterates and tries to make their stuff different every single time, even when it's good. Because everything was great in Mists of Pandaria. I just didn't like the setting. Everything else was fantastic. The progression was great. The legendary quest was cool. Class balance was great. PvP was awesome. Everybody felt at home in Shrine. Like, just reskin that for Draenor, and I would have been so happy.
Agreed. Yeah.
So happy, but they weren't content and they wanted to try different things. So hopefully,
I don't know. The thing about Pandaria is that it was very cookie cutter. It was very, this is Blizzard, this is our expansion. You know, it wasn't as innovative as, say, Cataclysm. Cataclysm had a lot of new things. They introduced LFR, and it's like all this stuff that is just like ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Well, if you think of the game as a tree and every expansion adds new tree, like limbs and stuff to it, they redid the trunk in that expansion.
Yeah, they completely cut down the tree and planted a new one.
Pretty much.
And that was crazy. So I think it was probably good that they just made a cookie cutter expansion. They're like, all right, we're introducing Monk, we're introducing pandas, and enjoy that. But as far as the game itself, it's pretty much the same thing as Endgame Cataclysm. So I think really they wanted to try to innovate and make something new with this. And I don't know. I mean, they went out, they tried it, and, you know, I just don't want to log into WoW and play a Facebook game. I can do that on Facebook if I want.
Right. And
I think that their next expansion is going to go back, I think, to something more along the lines of a typical WoW expansion. I would love innovation. I love innovation. I'm okay with that. I just didn't really prefer this one, and that's okay. That's fine. So, yeah, I think we've talked about this enough.
Yeah,
move on.
I still have another piece of news if you can believe it, but it's not WoW related. So people that are like, shut up already about
World of Warcraft. Break.
This is about Heroes of the Storm, and it's about the new champion that's coming. New hero that's coming out. Leoric, King Leoric. A lot of details are out about him. There's a cool video up. From Curse Entertainment, they did like a really cool highlight of him. I couldn't find anything from Blizzard specifically, but I guess he's on test rooms and you can play him there, I think. But just a quick rundown of his abilities, his trait, which is his passive in this game. Become a ghost when you die and resurrect upon reaching full health. Your abilities don't do damage while dead, because his abilities do different things when he's dead. But you can still heal you. But they can still heal you, causing you to cheat death. That's his whole thing. He never really dies per se. But yeah, it's called Undying. It's cool. His 2 ults. The first one is called Entomb. Cooldown 50 seconds. Create an unpathable. Yes, it means you can't path out of it. Tomb in front of you for 4 seconds. If you've played Diablo and you've fought any creature that has Waller as one of its descriptors, that's what it is, pretty much. It's super cool. March of the Black King. So if you've played Diablo 3 and you've fought King Leoric, he does like this cool like 3-step swingy movie thingy where he just like goes rah, 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 and like swings his mace and steps forward, and you're just like, I need to get out of his way. That's exactly what this is. Cooldown 80 seconds, become unstoppable, and swing your mace 3 times, healing yourself for 7% of your maximum health for each hero hit, and dealing 400, and then with a scaling bonus per level in damage as well. It's really neat. His Q, Ghastly Swing. Swing in front of you to slow enemies by 40% for 2.5 seconds. It's in a cone. It's his mace. And then the Skeletal Swing, Ghastly Swing turns into Skeletal Swing when you're a ghosty. And it does the same thing. You deal... Oh, I'm sorry. I have those backwards. Ghastly Swing is the one you do into Ghost. It doesn't do any damage. It just slows people. Q, Skeletal Swing, when you do it when you are alive. You deal damage and slow as well. It deals double damage to all non-heroic sources. So like minions, structures, stuff like that. Drain Essence. This is his W. This is the version of when you're a ghost. Throw out a chain, attaching to the first enemy hero, healing you up to 486. So there's scaling per level and stuff. Health over 4 seconds as long as you remain close to the enemy. So you're going to heal yourself up to become Mr. Skeleton King again. W, Drain Hope, is when you're alive. Grab an enemy hero's soul, dealing up to 25% of their maximum health as damage and healing you up for that amount of damage as well. It's a percentage of your maximum health while they are nearby. But you're slowed by 20% while this is active. So like you can't like keep up with people if they really want to get away from you. And then E, this is really interesting. It's really interesting. Haha. Wraith Walk. Separate from your body, becoming unstoppable and gaining movement speed, accelerating up to 50% over 2.5 seconds. When Wraith Walk ends or is cancelled, your body jumps to your Wraith. It's really interesting. You can't go through boundaries or like walls or anything or structures, but it'll help you get away from some places if you're willing to leave your body behind you really quick. But yeah, that's King Leoric. He seems really, really interesting. And they have this entire list of all of the skills and stuff like that, but we'll talk about him and that sort of stuff when we actually get a hands on stuff. I don't want to run through all of his stuff right now, just give you a basic kit overview.
Do they have a release date for him or anything?
No, not that I'm aware of. I'm sure there is somewhere. Because
it seems very soon to have a new champion being released. Or
no, he's part of the Eternal Conflict stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was announced a while ago. We just didn't know what his kit was, per se.
Okay, that makes sense. I was going to say, but like, it doesn't, like, it seems almost like League of Legends Season 2 levels of putting out heroes after heroes, though, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, because they've got a bunch of brilliant ideas right now because it just came out. So
they have an endless Warnerverse. They have an endless universe.
Warner Brothers universe.
But honestly, like they have such a huge arsenal of characters to pull from that. I don't like. It must be so much easier to design champions than like League of Legends or something. Like
yes.
Well, they have the lore
pull
already.
From our huge Warcraft lore.
Exactly.
Well, it's great because they can also pull from StarCraft and from Diablo, so it's like if there's not enough lore in Warcraft, which there is, we'll just pull from the Diablo lore too. It's like, why not?
And they do, and then they balance them out to make them interact in cool ways. They like fight. Cool. They fire quips at each other too. Like
yeah, but they spend all this time creating champions and not enough time balancing them. So then you end up with all these broken champions.
Yeah, it's still in a better, healthy state for esports than Dota, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's just me. A lot of people would disagree. But yeah, Heroes of the Storm is cool.
Do you think they'd ever make an original idea for Heroes of the Storm or no?
I feel like that defeats the purpose of the point of that game.
Yeah, but I mean, eventually, like, and then they become, so for example, they get released in Heroes of the Storm before they get released in WoW or something. For example, an upcoming expansion, they have a main character in the expansion. They design them in Heroes of the Storm first, their kit and everything, and then they appear in the expansion that comes out 2 months later.
Yeah, that might be a cool, like, promotional tool that they do.
I think it'd be awesome.
I feel like as we get closer to the release of Overwatch as well, we might see a couple of Overwatch characters in there. That'd be super neat.
I completely forgot about Overwatch. Holy crap. Of course they're going to have something.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I feel like Overwatch and Heroes, though very different, I understand that, are kind of overlapping in a sense. With, like, I don't know if you would want Overwatch characters in Heroes, because
I think you can only have a couple because they all shoot guns.
They're all very okay. So Overwatch is supposed to be their Team Fortress kind of like game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you took a character from a Team Fortress type game and moved it over to a game like Heroes of the Storm or Dota or whatever, you'd be kind of playing like the same character in a way,
but a completely different play style.
Weird,
it'd be really weird, yeah.
It's a different genre, man.
That would be strange.
I don't know
if that's possible.
And they don't. I've obviously very little about the characters in Overwatch, but it seems like they'd have like very little lore attached to them, if I'm correct. Like, which I mean would kind of be hard to.
I feel like they're actually trying to fix that problem before they get in with all like this side stuff, all this character stuff. Because if you go look on their website for Overwatch, the character listings are just chock full of like details and stuff.
I'm sure they are, but I just mean like if you look at something like Team Fortress, it's like, what's the backstory of the heavy? You know what I mean? It's like
nobody knows and nobody cares.
Yeah, I have that same feel. Like it seems like it's Team Fortress like type game, which it is. I mean, and I'm sure they will incorporate lore because I mean they do a great job in all of their games. So
right.
Wow, they have a lot of heroes for Overwatch.
Yeah, I think Soldier 76 just was the most recent one.
Yeah.
I'm still just I'm just gonna play the shit out of Tracer. I'll just be completely honest.
He seems like a character you would play.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for news. An hour into this show. Let's move on to the competitive scene. I don't think there's a lot here, so we'll just probably screw through like light speed. Just keep going. Just a little pit stop.
Team Archon.
The Archon tournament?
Yeah, the Archon tournament.
Get the fuck out, Frost.
It's funny, though.
I don't even remember saying Archon, but apparently I did. It's Archon, everyone. I know that. So don't... You know what? Whatever. Just go on.
Yeah, we had the past week, week 3 of the Archon tournament, and honestly, it's still a lot of fun to watch. The matches that went on were Team Liquid versus Nilium. I can't pronounce their team name. Nylum, of course. I put an L instead of an H. Anyways, Team Liquid versus Nylum. Nylum went 6-5. Cloud9 versus Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm won 6-4. Force and Boys versus Team Archon. Archon went 6-5. And Celestial versus Value Town. Value Town won that one 6-3. Every single class was played this week, so I mean that's cool. We're actually seeing Shaman played, which I think is weird. I think Shaman is the worst class by far.
That's exciting because that means that we'll be able to see him in ranked play as well. Make it more interesting.
He's just like all Shaman's abilities are just so like you don't like Crackle's so good being like 3 to 6 damage, but I mean when it hits low, it's just like that is sad because
it's a poor investment. But half the fun is the gamble.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's like it also can like I don't know. I just think Shaman is a hard deck to balance with Overload and stuff like that. But so I haven't decided if I like love this tournament or just like it because I mean I like a lot of the personalities on the team. Like I like all of the members of Forsen's team, all of Archon, all of Value Town, and all of Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm being my favorite team. But I mean, man, it is just hard to watch the matchups. Like this is the second week in a row where Team Liquid. They have had one player completely just not let them win. I mean, it's kind of the way that the format works is every single player must win with both of their classes once, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll pull up like last week. So last week they played Cloud9 and matches went, they won with Mage. They lost 2 games with Druid, right? So their Druid class hasn't won. They won with Hunter, won with Warrior, lost with Druid again, lost with Rogue, lost with Druid again, won with Rogue, and then lost with Druid. So they lost 5 matches with Druid. So I mean, that one player lost them 5 of their 6 games. Which it's just hard to watch. Like in this past week, one of their other players. So that last week that was Savitz who did that with his Druid. But this week Show was playing Patron Warrior, and so the way that this match worked out was he lost with Patron Warrior round 1, and then they won with Warlock, Mage, Druid in a row. And then after that, they won with Hunter Rogue. So like their two other players won for their 4 matches straight in a row, literally 2-0'd the enemy, and then Show lost with Patron Warrior 5 times that game. He lost 4 times in a row though. Literally, It was like he lost to a Warlock, lost to Druid, lost to Control Warrior, and then lost to Rogue in a row. And it's just that is hard to watch. Watching a player get beat by 3 different players for like an hour.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's one of the flaws of this type of tournament, but it's different. It's something different.
I think it's a great tournament format, though. I think it allows you to see every single tech type, and I think is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I honestly, I really hope that I think Value Town, Force and Boys, and Archon will come out as the top teams. Like I know Nylum is doing very well. They're currently the only team that's 3-0, but I think that they're all the teams are doing very, very, very well. Yeah, so other than that, like, I mean, it's just going to be kind of a weekly update for Archon for the most part.
Yeah.
But for Heroes of the Storm, I'm not sure if you guys have been watching the Heroes of the Storm NA July Open, but I was watching some of that today, and a
little bit with you.
I feel like they are hosting their tournament at the wrong time.
Probably.
Like Evo is on this weekend, so it's like I was like looking at the stream stats, like numbers and stuff, and it's literally you have Smash at like 110,000 viewers, like Street Fighter at like 30,000, Mortal Kombat at like 20,000, and then like one other fighting game at like 15,000, and then Heroes of the Storm, their competitive stream is sitting at like 8,000. I'm like, that's really
Sounds
sad.
About right. Yeah.
I mean, like that is just not the weekend to do this, and it's kind of sad.
I was watching a little bit of Evo as well, and I don't know. I think it's something that doesn't happen very often, you know. And
yearly, yeah.
The fact that Blizzard decides to hold Heroes of the Storm July Open during this weekend, I don't know. Poor decision.
It's not even possible for them to not have noticed, right?
Like, yeah.
Somebody had to go. Is there anything else going on that weekend? I don't
like,
think so.
I think their June Open, I think they were like capped at like 30,000 or something like that viewers, which is, I mean, it's pretty good for like a new competitive game. Like Heroes of the Storm isn't like that. Like, I mean, it's been out for like a month and a bit now. Like, it's not not an old game. It's not like League of Legends where like no matter what the LCS is going to get like 150,000 viewers or 100,000 viewers or whatever. But my God, this is not the right weekend to host it. No. I've been watching a lot of games and I'm learning a lot. Like the casters they have, I'm not sure if, like, I don't know who the casters are. I haven't been able to find out who they are exactly. I'm sure they would have announced at the beginning and the end. But I mean, they must have like been casting other games, like whether it be StarCraft or like whatever, because they're all like very like what do you want to call them? Like they're all veteran casters. You can tell they know their stuff, and I would
assume that Blizzard hired experienced people.
They're great, honestly. They completely break down every single mechanic of the game, and it's really great for a newer player. And yeah, and I think their HUD and overlay that they use to like break down the champion's abilities, why they're picked or banned, and stuff like that, just is absolutely great. I think it's miles ahead of like League of Legends and their like insight on roster, champion select, and all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, but anyways, I was watching it, and I think Tempo Storm is going to win this July Open. I mean, they're currently playing Goon Squad, so I mean, which is just just a random Canadian team, and I think Tempo Storm is the best team. I mean, they're number 1 on ladder, right? So, yeah. So watch that.
That means everything.
Heroes of the Storm is actually a lot of fun to watch, and I mean, they deserve more love than they're getting.
I have one question about the competitive scene and just kind of ranked in this game in general. Is the map randomly spawned, or do you have like a choice? Can you vote on it or anything like that?
I was trying to find that. It's not in like any website or not on their main page for the tournament, not on the Team Liquid Wikipedia for it. I'm assuming that there's bans, and then I'm assuming it's randomly selected after bans. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
because that's how ranked works when you queue for it as a non-professional.
So you queue for ranked, and it'll like give you an option of picking what maps you want to ban, and then it'll just do a...
You don't get bans in Hero League. I believe in Ranked 5 that you unlock on level 40, which is ranked 5v5 ranked, right? I believe there's bans in that. I'm not sure about maps, but I know in Hero League, you just do pick order.
Oh, we were talking about map, how the map is chosen.
Then the map is just chosen at random.
Okay.
But doesn't that seem like some teams are going to be better versed on some maps? Like,
No.
this is our jam.
Well,
we know how to.
They both know. They both have an equal chance of getting one that's good or bad.
I guess that's true, but it
For
just
there.
seems like very RNG. I think like a pick or ban would be the optimal way of doing it. Oh, like, oh my god, this team has this strategy for X map down. Like, we don't even know how to beat them.
Right.
That is just so perfected.
Right, and that's how League of Legends does it too, and that's how Dota does it as well. I don't know. I don't really know. I'm not. I wanna live in a world where I can say with confidence that the map doesn't affect the value of that. But I know.
But I just don't think that that's true. Just
as
in
somebody
general,
that's played Heroes of the Storm and loaded up for Haunted Mines and gone, fuck this, I'm AFKing. That. No, it does. It does. No, but Haunted Mines is fine, but fuck the Spider Queen one, right?
yeah.
Right. But anyway, yeah, Heroes of the Storm professional scene's pretty neat. You should go watch it.
It's live right now, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
But
By the way, Tempo Storm 2-0'd Goon Squad just like I suspected.
Oh, of
Tempo
course
Storm's
they
the
did.
best.
Sure, man.
Complexity is playing against Cloud9 right now.
Yeah.
Man, Hillman, I've got something I want you to do.
Oh, okay, yeah, what's up?
Why don't you
Come forth, coward!
and talk about this week's Hearthstone card of the week with Frost before I get a crack
Wow.
at you guys for not
Wow.
knowing anything?
All right, well, first off, I don't appreciate being called a coward by
Oh,
you
sorry.
or by Bolvar. But,
You will pay.
God damn it. All right, so this week we have chosen Bolvar for Dragon. He is a 5 mana, 1/7, and his passive says whenever a friendly minion dies while this is in your hand, gain +1 attack. It is a legendary paladin class only. And his flavor text is, spoiler alert, Bolvar gets melted and then sits on an ice throne and everyone forgets about him. Guess what? Nobody forgets.
Never
Because
forget.
Bolvar is fucking god.
Never forget Bolvar.
Yeah, so, reasons to play this card.
There is none.
Yeah, there aren't any.
You
Because
got
you're-
it in Tavern
because,
Brawl.
because you're in Arena and your other two choices are Major Domo and Thalmos. So you pick Bolvar because, obviously.
Bolivar's nickname is 400 Dust. I mean,
Yeah,
Like-
that's a good one. Or if he's golden, it's 1600. So why not?
yeah,
You know,
that's like a free real legendary.
free real legendary, not a fake one.
Go craft Millows or something with that dust. Do something
Bolvar is
useful.
really cool. The problem is he's 5 mana for a 1/7, and turn 5, you're not going to get enough +1 to make this useful. And anytime you play this later in the game, it's just going to die, right? So there's really, I don't know, there's really no reason to play Bolvar. Like I said, if you're playing in Arena, I guess I would choose him. But chances are, if you're getting Bolvar for Dragon, you're probably going to have a better choice legendary in that 3 pick there anyway, and you should just pick that
Probably.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tyrion.
Like-
Compared to Tyrion, this is just silly. This is a silly legendary.
I mean, he's a 5-drop, which I mean, there's a lot of good 5-drops. Run a Sludge Belcher. Why would you run this card if like you can't have Sludge Belcher? But I mean, the problem
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
like, I think he would be a decent card. Like, you can mulligan for him, so he's in your opening hand. So you do a bunch of like early trades. You have stuff like Muster for Battle, right? So like,
Yeah.
there's 3 attack right there. So he's already a 4/7 just from having a 3 mana card, right?
And in
But I
Paladin,
mean-
like the hero power, you're gonna be putting
Yeah.
out these little boys.
Well, that's
problem
the
is-
idea.
The problem is stuff like, so if he gets silenced, he loses his buff. If
Right,
he
he's a
gets
1/7.
sapped and goes back to your hand, he loses his buff. If he
Yep.
gets like anything, he loses his buff. Even if you're running stuff like Redemption, which is the Paladin secret, which when your minion dies, you revive 1 health, comes back with 1 attack. I mean, like there. If he like came back with his normal attack, or if like he couldn't get silenced or something, like this permanently just changes his attack to whatever, so he can't get silenced or all that stuff. Like, I mean, he probably wouldn't be terrible. He probably still wouldn't be played, but
What
he
if?
wouldn't.
What if he had charge?
Then he'd be a very, very good 5-drop.
Yeah,
I mean,
he'd be
even
cheesy.
you could, like you said, you play Muster on turn 3, and then turn 5 you play Bolvar, then you have a 4/7 charge.
He
That's
wouldn't have to.
pretty
If
ridiculous.
you had charge, he'd have to be like 3 health or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he had 7, then he wouldn't cost 5 mana.
Right. That's true.
Yeah,
Well.
but I mean, like, if he couldn't get silenced, like it permanently changed his attack to X, whatever, how many units died, then I think he would be a playable card. But it's kind of sad that he's not played. And I mean, he's decent in arena. Like, oh well. Oh, I have deck statistics from Hearthstone, by the way.
Alright.
So overall deck statistics, he's used in 4.8% of Paladin decks. So I mean, that's pretty low in the last 30 days. And for arena though, he's picked 1% in arena runs that he's
You lagged
100%.
there for a second.
Sorry,
100%?
He's picked in 100% of the arena runs that he's available.
Because
So,
he's
yeah.
a legendary, people are like, oh, that sounds good. You
Well, I
know,
mean, he's not bad
maybe.
in arena, and he's usually probably up against stuff that's not as like. Would you rather pick him or like Cho? Like, I mean, I'd rather pick him over stuff like that.
Over Cho for sure. Yeah. The thing about him being in arena is that even if you draw it later than you'd like to, it's still a 1/7. And if you're playing something with 7 health in arena, that's actually really good, even if it only does 1 damage, because it's pretty sticky in
That's
comparison to constructed, where everybody's got removal for everything. In arena, that's not the case. You don't always have removal for everything. So the fact that you can have Bolvar and kind of build him up in your hand and play him at 6 health so he doesn't get, or 6 attack, I mean, so he doesn't get BGH'd.
Right.
It's like, then what are you going to do to deal with it, you know? Not
But
everybody runs silence in arena either, so.
But I mean, like they probably have like 1 silence in their deck at most in arena.
Yeah,
But I
and they
mean,
probably
like-
won't use it on Bolvar.
Yeah, in general though, if you can like get them to burn some hard removal on Bolvar, then you're gonna do pretty well when like on turn 8 you play a real legendary, or turn like whatever you play a real big body.
Yeah, at turn 5 you play Bolvar and it gets assassinated, but like, that rogue is dead, right? Because you can play whatever you want now. The chances of them having 2 assassinates is pretty crazy, so, you know, it's that kind of thing.
So, now we know what he's like in Hearthstone. What can you piece together about his lore? Matt might actually
All right.
know some of this because you did a little bit of Wrath stuff, didn't
Yeah,
you?
so I'll explain a little bit. Bolvar was part of the Argent Crusade, I believe, and then he gets himself burned by Ragnaros the Fire Lord, if I'm not mistaken, and then he ends up becoming the new Lich King. That part I know for sure. He's all burned up and shit, and he does claim the title of Lich King and sits on the throne, and then becomes a giant block of ice. And yeah, he's Tyrion's brother or son or
Okay.
compadre.
Maybe. And you know what? In the grand scheme of things, I feel like everybody is Tyrion's compadre.
Yeah, dude, right? I
Yeah.
mean, come on. Yeah, he's somehow Tyrion and him are like bros. They do butt stuff together. I don't know, something like that. What do you got for us?
My turn. Yeah, so I knew he was on like the Ice Throne thing from the Lich King, and I know he's a Lich King. I mean, that's kind of basic information, even for someone who doesn't really play WoW much.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
Ooh, throwing out the gauntlet there.
so like he obviously was a paladin. Is he still a paladin even though he's a Lich King? That's my one question. Like, is that a
What
thing?
defines a paladin is a
He's
great
a paladin.
question.
Is he still really? Like, I don't.
I
know.
mean,
Like, as
how
the
do you...
Lich King?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that changes anything.
Oh, I don't know.
Probably not. Maybe.
Well, the thing is, like, what defines a paladin? Because
Oh, okay. Well,
technically he was a paladin.
character class,
And-
it says paladin, and then in parentheticals, formerly. So I don't think he has a class right now.
Okay, that would make sense. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really don't know much about him other than like the whole Lich King, like being the Lich King now. Currently, I'm not sure even really why. I didn't know the Ragnaros thing at all. If that's even true.
He gets burned somehow. I don't know if it's Ragnaros or some sort of dragon fire.
All right.
It's
Well,
dragon fire.
Let's just say it
I'm
was
gonna-
Tyrion.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
lock
it
you
was
in.
Tyrion. But basically, you kill the Lich King, and the ending cinematic is that he picks up the
Helm of
helmet.
domination.
Tyrion picks up the helm of domination, says Chris, and he's like, "I'm gonna become the Lich King." And Bolvar's like, "Nah, fuck you, man. Look at me, I'm all burned and shit. You might as well have me be the Lich King." Because Arthas's dad is all like, "There must always be a Lich King," and Tyrion's like, "Oh well, I guess I'll do it." And Bolvar's like, "Nah, man, I'll sit here and be a block of ice." And so he's on fire, and he puts the the helm of whatever Chris said.
Domination.
Helm of Domination. He puts that on, and then he sits on the throne, and his eyes are burning, and then he gets like frozen in ice, and his eyes are still burning, and you're like, oh damn! And then you come, and then Invincible drops if you're Nick Cooper. So there you go.
After years of farming.
After years of farming, and we're talking years.
So let me tell you what you got right, and then I'll tell you what you got wrong.
Okay, because I definitely got a few things wrong.
Well, the only things that you got right was that he was burned. You're not right about who burned him.
It was some sort of fire from.
Well, that's how you get burned, Matt Hillman.
Ragnaros area.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Or for my
It's not
fucking
even at all.
mixtape.
Have you?
oh wait, that's
Have you-
Cataclysm.
Have
I'm
you
an
seen?
idiot.
Have you seen the Wrathgate cinematic? You've seen the Wrathgate cinematic.
I think so.
I'm going to describe it in a little bit in detail in passing when I talk about Bolvar. But yeah, no, the other thing you got right is that he is currently the Lich King. But he refers to it actually as being the jailer of the damned because he's not. His will is such that he probably won't succumb to the Helm of Domination in the way that Arthas did. He's not as corruptible, especially since he's uniquely burned in the way that he is. He's technically listed as an undead human, by the way. Weird. So anyway, there was a point
But so
in
was
time...
Arthas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes. There was a point in time in Loracle history in World of Warcraft where the king of Stormwind was MIA. He was gone. Varian Rin was being held captive because he was trying to make peace with the Horde, and then he was captured. So in his stead, the regent leader, besides Anduin, who was technically king of Stormwind at that point in time, but who the regent was, like who was actually like really in charge, like who was wearing the big boy pants, was this guy, Bolvar Fordragon. He was, when Varian came back, he was named commander of the Alliance forces, and then was sent to take the battle to the Scourge in Northrend shortly after, because there was that entire event before this Wrath of the Lich King came out, where like undead attacked the major cities. And so they were enraged by this, and so he was like, fuck, I'm gonna go lead an expedition. So he leads Alliance forces over there and stuff like that. And then on their way to Iceground Citadel, there's this thing in Dragonblight called the Wrathgate, which leads you into Iceground Citadel. And there's an entire cinematic. It was like one of the big things it did in that expansion, where you see him and which Sourfang was it? Draenosh Sourfang. They're leading the Horde and Alliance forces, and they corner Arthas, and Arthas is about to show up, and then the Sourfang, he rushes in and gets killed by Frostmourne, and then as soon as Bolvar is about to be like, let's go, and we're gonna attack you, Arthas, and stuff like that. Right, the Forsaken show up, and they start spreading the blight that they were developing during that entire thing that kills all living things, and Scourge as well. That was led by Putris, Grand Apothecary Putris. And then that's where that whole Battle for the Undercity thing gets led by Varian Rin, because he's pissed off because he considers Bolvar to be basically like his brother. Like they're that close. He watched his son and like led in his stead. But anyway, so he falls to the blight at this point in time. Arthas barely makes it out of that entire encounter. He dies, and then so that the blight doesn't spread, the red dragonflight comes over, and they cover the entire area in dragonfire. So he gets burned by this dragonfire, and then the Scourge find his body and take it to Iceground Citadel and torture him. So they bring him back to life and torture him, but they can't break his will. So he's burned to death by dragonfire, which makes him magical in some sort of way, which is weird. And then he's also undead because he's brought back by the Scourge. It's technically part of the Scourge, but like Sylvanas, his will was so strong that he was not dominated at all. And so then when Arthas falls at the end of Wrath of the Lich King, when Tyrion is like, somebody has to be the Lich King because that's what King Menethil was saying. He's like, Tyrion comes up, he's like, no, everybody already thinks I'm dead. It'll be better for the world if they didn't know that there is a Lich King, even though there needs to be one. It would be better off if I stayed here, because I'm already damned as it is. I'll take one for the team and just forget about me. Just move on with your lives. Be happy. I'll be fine. It's whatever. And then Tyrion says some sort of things like, you will not be forgotten, and stuff like this. And then he like yells as Tyrion's leaving, he's like, leave this place and never return. Just like a real hardcore dude. Bolvar is really, really cool. In a lot of ways, Bolvar is the human hero that we all really kind of wanted. He's what we wish Varian Rin was in a lot of ways. So good on you, Bolvar, for being such a cool character. And much like his lore kind of suggests, not a lot of people know a lot about him. They don't really make the connection that he's the dude in the Wrathgate, that he led stuff in Vanilla, in Stormwind, and that he's also the same guy. Now you're just like, who the hell is this? But it makes a lot of sense when you put all the pieces together if you're paying attention. If you're not, hopefully that just did something for you. But yeah, that's Bolvar. He's a cool
So
guy.
now I have a question for you, Chris.
I've got an answer for you.
In what lore-related way does his passive relate to
His passive?
Yeah, like
whenever a friendly minion dies
on the battlefield, you gain +1 attack.
So his big thing was that he led the Alliance forces against the Scourge in Northrend because he was pissed off that so many people had died when the Scourge attacks had happened. So he was more motivated to become, instead of a leader, more of a warrior and lead these people. That's supposed to be reflected in his passive. Yeah, is that his whole, as people are dying around him, he gets more motivated and wants to do better.
I know it's kind of off topic, but I've seen the Wrathgate trailer before because I'm a guy on YouTube. His name is Disguised Toast. I think I've talked about him before.
Yeah.
He does a series called Card Origins, where he goes through the Warcraft universe throughout the games and stuff like that, and he breaks down why a character is important, right, within the WoW universe. So he did one a couple weeks ago on Sylvanas, right? And Sylvanas apparently is somehow related into the Wrathgate. Like, yes. I don't understand that though, because that's how I've seen the cutscene though, because she's mentioned by the
Arthas.
Lich King. Yeah, by Arthas.
Yeah, he goes Sylvanas.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Like I've seen that.
So Sylvanas has this really weird thing where yes, she's part of the Horde and she does answer to whoever the War Chief is at the time, but she also is kind of doing her own thing. She's really hard to kind of like wrangle, and she had Putris develop this blight, this disease, this new, because the original Scourge was made by a blight of its own that killed a bunch of people and they were raised as undead, but they want to develop one that killed not only living creatures but also the Scourge too. So if you go into Undercity in the game and you go into the Apothecary Wing and you go into the basement, there's a bunch of weird things they're doing down there where they're testing stuff on like human subjects and undead subjects and a bunch of different stuff. This was technically them kind of bringing that sort of like hidden sort of corner of that city to a story point. And Sylvanas is she's technically responsible for this. And now, like, since then, Thrall and Garrosh like yelled at her and they're like, you need to stop. Like, you cannot do this. This is not cool. That's not what we're about. Like, if you want to be part of this horde, and she does, because otherwise she would just get destroyed by 9 races, or more at this point in time, I guess. 12. And so they stopped that, especially after we killed Putris. But yeah, she was involved. It was technically her fault, and the Alliance consider it like high treachery from the Horde because they had agreed to team up to face the Scourge in Northrend. And then they just show up and these barrels are flying and people are dying and Bolvar dies. Like, oh god. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
That's crazy.
It is. It is crazy. But you know what else is crazy?
Great cinematic.
You know what else is crazy, Matt Hillman?
What's that?
We're not going to have a Don't Be a Scrub this week.
I believe it.
And it's probably, people are a little upset, but this show is running really long, and we kind of
had some great discussions, though. Let me tell you, we talked all about how WoW sucks. We talked all about how Hearthstone is great, and how the Heroes competitive scene is unbalanced.
You want to stop being so negative on the show? I don't really like this personality.
So I do want to say, though, that it's just kind of like a heads up. We were going to this week, if we had time. We do not have time for this. We were going to talk about more basic raid mechanics with Matt. I think we were planning on doing Rage DPS, right? Today? But we'll save that for another time. But I do want to gear you guys up for, we're going to start doing a mini-series on Hellfire Citadel, since it is now confirmed to be pretty much the last raid in Warlords of Draenor, where we explore fights and stuff and how they're different in every single difficulty level and stuff like that, and like why you're even killing this person, why they're in your way and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, next week we'll start that with the first wing probably. But other than that, the only thing we have left to do is answer emails, and we have one that has a question that we're going to talk about on the show. It's from Connor. My main question this week is, what are your thoughts on the fact 6.2 will be the last major content patch? Meaning that in terms of content, this is the smallest expansion so far. With WoW having so much money, and having nearly triple the staff size that built Burning Crusade and Wrath. Do you really think it's justified for them to make less content while increasing subscription costs and the cost of the new boss expansion?
I don't know if there's a confirmation of them increasing subscription costs.
I haven't heard that either.
I'm not positive that that's going to happen. I don't necessarily think it won't happen. It could. I think if they increase subscription costs, they would lose a lot of people.
I think too many people.
Probably be more beneficial for them to keep it where it is.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree that this is definitely a small expansion, I guess, as far as the sheer number of raids, content, that sort of thing. I don't necessarily agree that they have more money and more staff, so they should have more content. I don't think that that's a necessary correlation. I agree that 6.2 isn't exactly what we were expecting from the last major content patch, but it's okay. I think, honestly, if it was me and I was Blizzard, I would be thinking about what we're going to do for next expansion already, because
they definitely are.
Currently, they are. They have to be. I think 6.2 was a letdown for a lot of people. I think Shipyard wasn't all it was cracked up to be.
No.
People wanted to drive their ships, and I don't think that would have been too hard. I think, honestly, if you had a little mini, like, kind of cinematic type ish thing where you were driving a ship and you had to shoot other, Alliance ships if you're Horde, or Horde ships if you're Alliance, I think that would be cool, and I don't think it would be that hard to do. I think it would have helped a lot. I think people were just expecting so much from the Shipyard and from Hellfire and from Tanan that when they got it and they were like, oh, okay, cool, it just fell below expectations. And it's like, that's not Blizzard's fault. It's not really the community's fault. It's just a miscommunication between the two. And it's whatever. Like, it happened. It's there. People don't like what's happening in WoW right now, and I think the best thing for Blizzard to do is just look forward to the next expansion and try to figure out what they're going to do that's really going to change the game. And I don't know necessarily if there's a good idea that will, like, spark something new, but it's at least better than Garrisons, because Garrisons just kind of destroyed the social aspect of this game.
And I don't really want us to rehash what we already talked about.
Yeah.
Like, largely at the beginning of the show. I guess we did kind of talk about this at the beginning, but I'm not upset. I'm not disappointed or anything. I'm just more surprised at how some of the things turned out and stuff like that. It's just part of Blizzard's process. This happens from time to time. Something comes along and like, ooh, that seems like a miss. And if you think they don't know that, you're wrong. They totally do. They've been doing this for a long time. They're very good at what they do. And the reason that they are very good at what they do is because they take risks, and sometimes they don't pan out. Just rest well knowing that next expansion won't be like this, because this one didn't work out.
And I think this expansion from the very beginning was meant to be, I don't want to call it what it is, but kind of a filler expansion. It's a middle ground expansion. It's not so much a Cataclysm where they redo everything. It's more like Wrath of the Lich King. I don't know, where it's kind of a middle ground. Like, obviously Wrath was very different than this expansion, but you have to understand, like, there are some expansions where you're trying to promote something brand new and good, and you're taking a risk, and there's other expansions where you're trying to reinvent the game. And so it's like, when they released Burning Crusade, they had, flying and all this new things. There were new playable races, and all of a sudden you can have paladins on Horde and shit like that. And it's like, that was a reinvention of the game. And then when Wrath came around, it was like, okay, now we're going to introduce a brand new class you can play, Death Knights. And then it was kind of like, okay, we hope this works, and we'll see what happens. I think that's kind of what happened with Draenor. And they're like, what about Garrisons, guys? This is going to be cool, right? And if it had been cool, then we would all be talking about how great this expansion was. But it just wasn't exactly what we were looking for. And I personally think that's okay. I think it's fine. It's whatever.
We are ready to move on, and they're also ready to move on, so things kind of did pan out.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
In
It's
one way or another. Yeah. But yeah, thank you, Connor. We appreciate your email. If you guys want to send us an email, you can send it on over to thehearthshow@gmail.com. Or your other option is, and this is, I know, cool stuff, you can send us a voicemail by calling 681-443-2784. Or for those of you with like letters and stuff on their phones, 681-4-HEARTH. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. We'll talk about your question there and stuff like that. But that brings us to the end of the show. I just want to remind you that you can help support the show if you'd like to, and get the show 24 hours in advance, and get some other cool exclusive Patreon videos and stuff like that by going to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/the Hearth. Follow us on Twitter at Hearth Podcast, and like us on Facebook. And then we're also available on iTunes and Stitcher if you guys can find some time to leave us a review on iTunes and or Stitcher. That really helps us out in a huge way. That'd be awesome. Other than that, I think that's going to be it. We'll see you guys soon for the new pre-brawl next week. And if not then the Hearth episode number 7. Yeah, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.